It's Dale here. Today I'm just going to show you a couple of my pieces that I've done. This one here was a photo I took this is the town that I come from, the beach near the town that I come from in New Zealand. And this is the estuary. I love to go there because the Godwits are there at certain times. And I was there earlier this year, staying in a little beach hut. But this is the estuary on the other side, so it's a wetland. And I took this photo. Usually I take photos of the sea and the beach, etc., but this was really just quite a nice little spot, and I thought I would try and interpret it in stitch. And I've been mucking around with it for ages, so I'll just tell you a little bit about what I did. I used a pre-felt for most of it, up to about here, and on the back I put scrim. This is with the embellishing machine, which I talk about quite often, and you can't see a lot of it, but of course it's not about each little bit, but when you work from the back with the embellishing machine, the texture comes up to the top, so you'll see little tufties, tiny little tufties here and there. And on top of that I've stitched a lot of very thick threads, French knots, just straight stitch all over the place to try and pick up some of that colour. I'm not trying to copy it exactly, but just to sort of put a semi-interpretation on it. And at the top I used just wool, Corriedale wool or whatever I had. I haven't put it on, it's not a pre-felt or anything like that. I just made it on the back to try and get the sky and a little bit of what I was doing. And some seed stitch. And then I used the silk and straw, which is lovely, and I just want to use it, so I did lots and lots of misplaced French knots. They don't match at all, but for me, I just want it for the texture. And little bits of a lot of French knots or misplaced French knots, so that they just look interesting. So, and then just building up the top until I used a finer thread on the top just to get that colour. And so in the long run, it doesn't look like this one, but it is just a stitched memory of what I did. And work doesn't have to copy. I know there are people who do beautiful stuff like that, but I'm not very good at absolute copy. And what you always notice is that nature is confusing anyway. So that's that one there. And then this one here is one of my little vignettes that I did. Debussy was one of my favourite composers. And just to show you how I layered it, I've got felt on the back. And I use strips of sari ribbon. Sometimes people ask me what they do with the sari ribbon or what I should do. So I've laid them down and done a lot of straight stitch, sort of semi-cantha style, and I used a piece of a photograph of Debussy, and I put it onto one of his pieces, which was Clair de Lune, I think, or I'm not sure now. One of his pieces, I used to play them. I like his music, his piano music, and his movement of chords and etc. And then I had another little piece from a children's corner suite that I had. So I think this is the Gollywog's Coat book somehow. And I put that on, and I put this onto, and I've hand stitched it just to put it down so it gives some texture. So, and I've machine stitched around here. So it's just an idea of what I do. If it gives you any idea, well then that's excellent. And this is a third one, and this is from when we were in Canada. We went to Lake Louise. I know lots of people who've been to British Columbia have been to Lake Louise. And that's, of course, you know who, at the lake. It was quite cold, and there were a lot of tourists around. But I've used this sort of, to make a window by using scrim and cartridge paper, or maybe watercolour paper, and stitched it on. And I've used, again, my sari ribbon. As I've said many times, the thing about sari ribbon is you have to iron it to get it flat, and then after that I wind it onto cards, and I've got it to use when I want it. So there's layers and layers on there, and again I've used running stitch to link them together. So it sort of emulates for me where we were. So there's just 3 little pieces today to show you. So I hope that's given you some ideas, and we'll see you again another time. Bye.